Welcome back to Inside the Lines. Happy Wednesday. We're going to chip away at our Super Bowl props. We're going to hit the novelty props today. And of course, we'll hit the NBA slate, some college basketball plays we have value on. And as always, answering your questions across anything, even NFL questions we can still get to. Let's take a quick look at yesterday's recap with the team here. Another good night, a 6-3 night from the team. Jake, two bad beats for you over there. Boston College ends up losing by a point to FSU.
Yeah, it was tough. And then Tyler Hero had 7 rebounds and assists with 7 minutes left in the third quarter. And he just needed one. He didn't even play the fourth quarter. And Jimmy Butler played like half the fourth quarter. So you'd think he would have played some minutes. But it was just a little frustrating. But I got value with Hero because it closed at 8.5. So you like to see that you get value. And it would have been more disappointing if I got it 7.5 than it went to 6.5 and it finished at 7. So I still like where I got the value there.
Yeah. That was the right bet. Sometimes it's the right bet and just doesn't hit. But you know what? We move on.
I say you move the line, Jake. Congratulations.
Yeah, honestly.
All right. We are heading right into, before we hit the NBA slate, we're going to talk about some of our novelty props. So far, we have 3 player props each. You can see that from yesterday's episode. Today, Wednesday, we are hitting the novelty props. This is going to be exciting. There are a lot of different ones. We're going to cover some of the basics. And then one of my plays is a little unique here, but we'll start with what everyone's looking at here. We're going to start with the Gatorade color, okay? A couple quick hitters here. Last year when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, the color was purple, but the most popular color throughout the past 23 Super Bowls has been orange. But the past 5 Super Bowls, blue has hit 3 times. So a lot in the air here. You see purple, shortest odds right here. And you can go no Gatorade bath, a plus 1,600 as well. Steven, We're going to start with you. What is your Gatorade pick for your prop portfolio?
So what I can see is the last 4 winners have been plus 400 or more. So I looked at the longer odds, and I see plus 350 for the blue and the red. I'm not going with the clear or no bath. And then red hasn't hit, right? Ever in the last whatever?
Not in the last 23 at least.
Yeah, so it's due. And both teams are red. Red is the second most popular drink among consumers, so there should be a lot of red on the field.
See, I thought about red for a while because also the Taylor Swift narrative, she has a song Red, and I could see them trying to do something with that. Then I thought, who the hell drinks red Gatorade when they're playing a game? Like, nobody. And then I was like, I feel like the players definitely boycott red Gatorade. I would boycott red Gatorade. Anyone else agree? Also,
blue is where it's at, though.
Yeah, that's true. I want everyone in the chat to also comment what they think the Gatorade color will be. I'm curious to hear everyone's thoughts. Jake, we'll head to you next. We've talked about this color a lot through the week, and you finally went with it. Also, these odds are from DraftKings, but if you go to Bet365, there's a lot better odds as well.
Yeah, so if you go to actually cover 3, it kind of has like the odds jam approach where you can find the best price in all of these. Orange best price is at Bet365 at plus 400. It scares me because the majority of the public's on orange, and so that's why it's kind of moved. But it moved from plus 600 plus 400, and I kind of want to like fading the public, especially when it comes to Gatorade color, because I feel like the NFL trying to want all these guys to lose. But still, it's the most popular color, but it hasn't happened in the last couple of years, so it's due. And at plus 400 on Bet365, I think there's pretty good value.
Yeah, that's fair. I kind of just went more with the gut play here. Not too much rhyme or reason other than process of elimination of purple and red and Jake picking orange. But I like the yellow-green vibe here. I think that is an actual Gatorade color that you actually want to drink when you are playing a sport. Some of them are really heavy. I feel like this might just overpopulate the sidelines. So I'm going to take the odds here with the yellow-green. All right, let's move on here. Also, if you haven't hit that like button, please do that. And comment your Gatorade color that you think as well. All right, let's move on to the coin toss here. Steven, I have a feeling you overanalyzed this one, so I'm going to let you start here.
I sort of did. I mean, I overanalyzed it with bad math, but by the way, the odds that I'm drinking red wine tonight is negative 200,000. Because
nice.
I drink it every night. I ran an Excel, just randomly generated a number from 0 to 1, 58 times. The 58th time was, and then if it's less than or equal to 0.5, I consider that a heads. Greater than 0.5 is a tails. The last 58th number is 0.044527, so it's a heads. I ran a simulation.
As we do every day.
Truthful.
Very fitting. Jake, let's hear the rebuttal.
My goal was just to I was going to take a quarter and flip it, but I left it in the car. So I'm going, as Derek just said, Derek Phil in the chat, tails never fails. So I'm going with tails. I was always, when I played football, when I was captain, I'd always call tails. So I'm just going to stick with my gut right here. Tails never fails.
Yeah, my gut feeling was really just to fade Steven, so it's funnier when this hits. So I'm also going with Jake on tails here. All right, let's move on to something that requires a little more
ageism.
thought. Yeah.
Ageism. Just like Bill Belichick can't get a job, get no respect, too much of a control freak.
Yeah. Sounds like someone we know.
Oh.
All right, let's go to the national anthem here, Reba McEntire. Over under 90.5 seconds, which is already super objectively low, but it opened at 84.5. So now it's starting to steam up. We've kind of all agreed you might as well just wait for this line to keep climbing and then take the under, right?
That's what I think. And like I said, my previous life, I ran a product placement company, and I worked with her show that she had on like the CW at the time or something. And she spoke very fast the one time I heard her speaking. Well,
historically, and someone Christian mentioned this, like in her young age, she would rip through the national anthem, like 70 seconds, under 80 seconds most of the time. But then as she's gotten older and like if you play with a band and stuff behind you, that starts to slow you down. So I don't know. I don't know if
the influential thing I've heard was the fact that one of the Chiefs fans chant something during the national anthem that the singer tends to pause on to let them do it. And so that was the thing that concerned that would add another 2 seconds.
I'm hoping my spies in Vegas will hear some rehearsals for me, and then I can really hammer this line. But until then, I'm not as concerned. I'm not as concerned as hammering a -130 line on a national anthem. That's just not the move for me right now. All right, let's move on to something we do have some official plays in. I really like this prop here. The jersey number of the first touchdown scorer to be over or under 22.5. Now, I listed some notable players under 22.5 versus over 22.5. Steven, I know you like the under here. Is it because of the plethora of players involved?
Yeah, well, so I have in one of my database views that I don't publish is the odds that I would put for the first touchdown. And in and anyone with measurable odds, there's more under. And they combined to around 49% versus 47% for the overside. And then I also love the fact Jerry McKinnon is not on this board. He's probably going to play, and he's a great chess piece. Last year he had, I want to say, 10 touchdowns. This year he still had like 5 this year, even though he got hurt a lot. So he is this wild card that could be used, especially if it's not a goal line situation, where assuming that would go to Pacheco. But if they're in first and goal, but from like the 7 or 8. I think that's his situation, his spot.
Mm-hmm. See, it's so tough to me because there's so many more options under 22.5, but how do you go against Christian McCaffrey and Travis Kelce and George Kittle? It's just hard for me. Jake, I know you like the over here. Is that why?
No, it's because I'm expecting a fullback dive from the 2-yard line to the big number 44, Kyle Juszczyk. Yeah. So that's where I'm going with the over 22.5 with Kyle Juszczyk scoring. Now, I think McCaffrey probably scores first is what I'm going with earlier. So this
is a way to get better value on the first touchdown bet. This is probably better value than the Christian McCaffrey first touchdown line, I think. I could be wrong.
Yeah. First touchdown probably plus money. Just to be the first to score.
Yeah.
But anytime.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I do not have a bet on either of these two. I did find myself an interesting bet. DraftKings has a lot of Taylor Swift bets going on right now. I did myself a little deep dive. You can bet to see how many times they show her on the camera during the national anthem, over or under 1.5. Now, I think it'd be a little disrespectful to show her more than once. I think they'll show her once. think it's going to be for a very long time. She's going to be next to Donna, all the things. But I think they know that they've been kind of pushing the limit with the Taylor Swift appearances, and they're not going to try to go out the gates with it too much. So I think one long appearance is what we're going to get. All right. Plenty of Taylor Swift parlays also that maybe I'll be hitting Friday. Let's take a look at the prop portfolios now. We have our 3 novelty props. We all have a coin toss Gatorade color. You guys went with the jersey numbers. I'm going with the Taylor Swift national anthem. Any other novelty questions that you have? We can try to answer them, but there's only so much data to be said. All right, let's move on to ways we can make some money tonight, headed to the NBA. Start off strong. I'm going to warn you, we got a lot of 3-point props, okay? We are looking for some Splash City tonight. We'll start in Charlotte with RJ Barrett.
Yeah, so the model has a 1.6 made threes because he averages 1.6 made threes on the road. So that includes obviously the Knicks and a time with the Raptors. The line is down because he went through a 7-game understretch where he was only 3 for 20 shooting. So not only was he shooting just 15%, but he's only attempting an average of less than 3 a game. But he had 2 made threes, I think, on 5 attempts versus OKC's last game. So regression to the mean for RJ Barrett would be over 1.5 would be more of a 5 attempts. And hopefully, again, obviously 2 for 5 would be higher than his normal percentage, but a lot, but 1 for 5 is below.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I respect it. Shoot or shoot. I like the 3-point shots. We're going to go with another one here with Max Strus headed to the Wizards. Cleveland 11.5-point favorites on the road here. We're looking for some more buckets.
Yeah, you want to probably act now too, because earlier we had Cleveland at minus 10.5 is available, and that's gone now. So if you like Cleveland to cover, you want to move. I'm going back to the well here with Max Strus. He just delivered on this, and earlier today, this is another one you want to act now because you could get this at minus 150 a couple hours ago, and now the best price I saw is minus 160. Model has it 2.7. The over is on a 7-1 streak. He's got a much better chance of staying in the game if it's a blowout win. He also starts, obviously, and often starts the offense going well, like the other night where he had a couple made threes in the opening minutes. Washington allows 38% 3-point shooting at home, which is higher than they allow on the road. They're probably going to be trading Kuzma away. They're not either of the situation. They don't have a lot of people out there who are going to be locked in defensively on the perimeter.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's move on here to the Warriors headed to the Sixers. Another 3-point prop here that I like. Kelly Oubre, someone who's probably been directly affected by Joel Embiid being hurt, getting a lot more minutes, probably looking for some more offense here.
Yeah, this one was this is another act now because this was at minus 120 on ESPN bet earlier in the morning. Now the best price is minus 135. And not only is Embiid not there and giving more shots to everybody, but D'Anthony Melton and Nicholas Batum are both out. So wing defense, they would need Oubre to get more minutes. The over is 8-5 as a 76er with a 2.5 average when he plays 30+ minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the minute guarantee here. That's what I always get worried about in the NBA regular season, but I feel confident he'll have the time here. All right, let's move on to the Spurs headed to the Heat. We used to have some overvalue here, but the over's quickly been steaming up. We make the number 229, so do with that what you will. But Jake does have a good player prop here for us.
Yeah, I'm going with Jeremy Sohan over 1.5 turnovers. He only had 1 last game, but he had 8 the 2 games before. He had 3 and then 5 the game before that. The Heat, I think they're in the middle of the pack when it comes to steals, but Sohan's due for more than 1.5 turnover after just having 1 last game. The model has him at 2.1, so you're getting pretty good value, minus 130 on FanDuel. I think it's minus 135 on DraftKings, so FanDuel is the best price.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on here. A good game with the Hawks headed to Boston. Boston 12-point favorites here at home. A little bit of value on them, but we like the over action here.
Yeah,
that's a lie. We like Drew Holiday.
Yeah, Drew Holiday over 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists. The model has it at 25.5. The line is lower because he averages 3.5 fewer points, rebounds, assists at home versus on the road, where because at home they're usually heavy favorites and in a lot of blowout situations doesn't have to play as much. But he still averages over 22 at home, and the over is still 13 and 12. He has a recent and positive trend over his last 10 games, 7-3 over. And he's coming off an under because they beat Memphis by 40 points. Atlanta actually has better metrics on the road than they do at home, so maybe this can stay a little closer. He's not sitting. He also as a Buck, he demolished Atlanta with a nearly 38 average in 3 games. And against 4 games versus Trae Young, he's averaged 34 points, rebounds, and assists.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah, we haven't hit a Drew Holiday prop since like the beginning of the season, it feels like.
No. So he's due.
He's due. We're due. He's due. All right, let's go to the Pelicans headed to LA. Again, Zion Williams, a game time decision, which makes all of these props frustrating for the Pelicans, but you do like a play on the Clippers side.
Yeah, Vikas Zubac. So it's a little fishy line because he averages over 13 at home. Before he got hurt, he missed a lot of time. The over was 4-1. It was 4-0 as he averaged 17 points over a 4-game stretch before he got hurt in the game. The line is adjusted on him thinking that on odds makers expecting him to come back and not play as a starter, or either not start or not get his starters minutes, because he averages 13.2 at home with a 17-3 going over 8.5. We're just projecting him based on some reports that I read that he's expected to start and get close to his full complement of minutes. So that's what the bet's on. It's not based on any matchup, good, bad. It's just, does he get his 28 minutes as a starter or does he play 17 minutes as a backup?
Right. And we think that he is going to be starting tonight.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's move on. Last game on the slate here. Detroit headed to Sacramento. Sacramento 13-point favorites. There's a lot of heavy favorites here tonight. We're going with Jaden Ivey, though, to make 2 3-pointers. Yeah,
I was surprised. So the number, since I put this out, was gone up to plus 132 on FanDuel for over 1.5 made threes. And it surprised me because Cade Cunningham and Bogdanovic are listed as game time decisions. So the line is set based on the fact that he averages 1.4 made threes. But I'm emboldened by the fact that he averages the same on the road as at home. And the model has been 1.7 because over his last 17 games, so since January 1st, he's averaged around over 2, and the over is 13-4. And then that's up to 2.2 average over his last 6 games. So again, in 3 games, career games versus Sacramento, he's the overs 2-1 with a 2.3 made average. Sacramento is allowing 40% 3-point shooting at home this season, which is 3% higher than a year ago. So again, I like all the metrics for Ivy to go over this just on volume alone. But it always bothers me when the line sneakily is going opposite to what I would expect.
Trust your gut, Steven. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. All right.
You?
Yeah.
Derek's always the one who squashes my enthusiasm.
Yeah, this is true. All right, let's move on here. Jake has a college basketball parlay for us. It's been a minute here. Little 2-leg money line parlay. We have St. Bonaventure playing Massachusetts and NC State playing Pittsburgh. Oh, I have you muted.
Oh,
sorry.
Got by the old mute button. 2-leg money line parlay right here. We have St. Bonaventure as good value against the spread if you want to play just that too. I like that a little better than the NC State leg because Pittsburgh does have a win over Duke on the road. They've been pretty hot. I think they've won 4 or 5. NC State has won 2 in a row, and they're much better at home. But they're streaky. But I think NC State at home is the better team. But a plus 143 is pretty good value for a 2-leg money line parlay for 2 home favorites.
Yeah, that's awesome value. Connor asking if we have any value on St. Louis versus LaSalle. He's looking at the under here.
Let me check that out. We have it coming at 146, so a slight value on the under.
Yeah,
at 148.5.
Mm-hmm. We don't disagree.
Line's coming down, so line's coming down even though the public data seems to be on the over. So that's interesting. So maybe.
St. Louis is definitely over. I mean, they're both pretty high pace, so I think there's not too much value here. I mean, one team averages 148, one average 147, but the LaSalle home games averaging 144 is why the model is leaning towards the under here.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we agree there slightly. I don't see any other questions right now. I'm going to hit the recap screen really quick. some college basketball, a lot of NBA today, and then again, our novelty props that we hit. Tomorrow we'll be talking about touchdown scores, first touchdown, maybe a last touchdown. I don't know if we're feeling crazy. Anytime touchdown. A lot of touchdown parlays as well that we can get creative with. So brainstorm your thoughts, bring your questions tomorrow for that. And other than that, good luck with your guys' bets tonight, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.